Gossett Volkswagen on Covington Pike, where we're charging forward and charging less every day.
Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike.
All 36 monthly, $7,500 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Taos, RMO 53314, MSRP 26063. Tiguan, RM 003120, MSRP 30026. Jetta, RMO 48802, MSRP 25506. Cannot combine APR with 3,000 customer cash rebate. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details with approved credit. Dealer stock only. Offer expires into the month.
A new era in public safety begins with you. Be the change you want to see. Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo on Saturday, March 30th, 2024, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We will take applications, perform basic testing, and interview candidates on site. Salary starts at $54,611, increasing to $72,000 after 3 years. Free parking will be located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. Johnny Hill producing as always on this Thursday afternoon. Thursday afternoon where the Tigers have kicked off the American Athletic Conference tournament. Delayed, a big delay, about an hour delay from the original scheduled 1:30 tip time, but they're off and rolling. About 7 minutes left in the first half currently, all knotted up at 24. So we'll talk a lot about that today, give as many updates as we can, talk about what's already happened, all of that throughout the game. Greg Gaston will join us at 5 o'clock, so we'll kind of recap the game one way or the other at 5 o'clock with Greg Gaston. But we are out early. Just a reminder to everybody, we are out at 5:30 today. Ole Miss pregame for Texas A&M at 5:30. That tip-off scheduled for 6 o'clock. Again, you know how that goes around this time of year. But Brett Norsworthy, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well, and again, the friendly reminder to everyone at these conference tournaments and even next week for the NCAA tournament, the only game you can set your clock by is the first game of the first session. The first game of the night session,
iffy.
It's closer, but that second game of both sessions, just laughable that this was going to start at 1:30. I think everybody knows by now with that, but also had the long delay with the stanchion and the rim being marred by hanging on it, and that's why it's called. It's not called to not let the kids have fun because these players are so big and so powerful that they can. I mean, in NBA, I don't know how it's not done more often because they it's not a rule there to call hanging on it. But in college, you had a player for East Carolina do it, and he's the one that recognized it on the free throw that hey, it's out of whack, and out came the level. You know, it's something when the ladder and the level's broken out, and it was off, and it caused a long delay, and that inconveniences a lot of other people. But they got it rectified, and they're playing now the Tigers in Wichita State. Knotted at 26. This game is being rapidly played, though.
Oh, man.
A game that was an hour, supposed to tip at 1:30, tipped at 2:31, and at the 5:40 mark in the first half, that's pretty rapidly played. 29-minute, basically 14 and a half minutes played.
Yeah, no, I was listening to it. I was on the way up here when it started, and so I'm listening to Dave on the radio do his call, and I mean, just it felt like it was up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. I was going, woo, boy.
With no stoppages.
Slow down, no stoppages. And so you're absolutely right. A very fast first half, and both teams at times looking sloppy, but certainly trading blows. And right now,
Wichita State. Wichita State has no prayer at this pace.
No, not at all.
They have no prayer.
Not at all. They've got to slow it down.
I know we're battling a lot of things out there today. People wanting to listen today, people wanting to watch on TV,
right.
maybe watch parties around town at good places to watch games. We will keep you updated on the Tigers. We can't do play-by-play.
Right.
Because we don't want to violate anything with ESPN or with our friends at Learfield and the University of Memphis. But we're going to keep you up to date. At one point, Wisconsin, no, they still are now. Wisconsin's up 40 on Maryland at the Big Ten tournament.
Wow, incredible. And, Maryland was in one of those games last night that nobody in the country outside of Maryland fans, Michigan fans, those type of fans were watching because it was a Peacock game. They get the win yesterday over Rutgers, but good Lord, Wisconsin hopped on them early and like you said, have not looked back at all.
It's a grind sometime for Wisconsin to score 40.
That's right.
Much less be up 40. Other teams, Wisconsin was one that some might be watching, potentially bubble that would impact the Tigers. Here's one that will impact the Tigers. And I know this is foreign to a lot of people. Need to pull hard for Ole Miss tonight against A&M.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. That will certainly help. Those were the two teams, watching SEC Network last night during both those game coverages, and really just hearing a lot of people talk about it, bracketologists, experts, those sort of things. It was Texas A&M, it was Mississippi State, those two teams that were right around the bubble. State took care of a business, even though it was very scary early, only 22 points for them in the first half, really sloppy game for them, but they're able to come back and get a nice 10-point win over LSU. But you're right, Texas A&M tonight, if they lose, Tigers take care of business today. That is certainly one team that you can check off in the right direction for the Tigers.
But a lot of others taking care of business. St. John's, Seton Hall kind of seemed a little bit interchangeable. St. John's leading in that one with about 11:31 to play. Exactly 11:31 to play in the second half. Another one, Pitt and Wake Forest, same thing. They both feel a little bit interchangeable. Pitt up 15 with 11:12 to play in the ACC tournament in Washington, D.C. Other games that potentially could impact, St. Joe beat Richmond. Was that one? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Michigan State beat Minnesota. I don't think so.
No.
Texas Tech, a winner over BYU. And so it's not many of those cases out there. And you really needed a lot of teams to lose early because when they even get that one win, that helps them a little more, maybe not with leaps and bounds separation, but right now to be left out, you can be left out by an inch and a half.
That's right.
Well, and you're left out.
Yeah, well, and you brought it up yesterday or the day before how Joe Lunardi kind of laid out this whole graph of, these teams, and it was a lot of teams in there. You win one game, and you should feel pretty comfortable winning in type deal. So you're right. It's those early games where we just want to see you win a game in the conference tournament, and you're pretty safe. So a lot of those teams took care of business yesterday or are taking care of that business today.
He's got that great info up again today, winning in Mississippi State. Well, they won, so I would say they're in.
Yeah.
Virginia, whom the Tigers defeated back in December, as we all know, they beat Boston College. They're in. Out without a win, St. John's against Seton Hall. Pitt against Wake Forest, Texas A&M against Ole Miss. Iowa later this afternoon, early evening, 5:30 our time, in the Big Ten tournament over Ohio State. Colorado against Utah late tonight. Yeah. And then South Florida tomorrow afternoon against that now will be East Carolina that won that game. In the AAC tournament yesterday, it was a day of red X's for me. I was 0-2 in the AAC tournament.
Yes, you were. I was 1-1.
You had Shockers, Owls winners, and today you've got Pirates as a winner. That's 3 winners so far at the AAC. At the SEC tournament, you got 2 dogs and a hog as your 3 winners.
How about that?
Mississippi State and Georgia and Arkansas, your 3 winners. Arkansas very fortunate in overtime last night against Vanderbilt, and the hammer fell today on Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah, and it almost felt like he knew it was coming last night. A great performance, I thought, or a fun performance, I should say, by Vandy last night. You know, they led for a while last night. They get down, they're able to fight back, force overtime, and then it was mostly Arkansas in overtime. But after I saw the post game, Jerry Stackhouse kind of laying it out, I thought, pretty gracefully, kind of saying, we had a lot of injuries. This was not our full stat or our full, rotation all season long. But at the end of the day, it is about, winning games and getting results. And we understand that we didn't do that this year. And so you're right. A lot of moves today, but that being one of the bigger ones. St. Louis last night, they parted ways with Travis Ford. A little bit of surprise there.
I think he got a fair shot, though.
I think he did too. Oklahoma State.
Hard to argue with 8 years, isn't it? Can you really say, man, they didn't give me a chance?
Right, and I don't think it was more me arguing. I think it was just I got so used to him being, like you said, there 8 years. I mean, it feels like he's been there forever.
Very likable person.
Very likable. So he's out at St. Louis. We talked about it yesterday with Mike Boynton. He's out today as well. I saw that coming. So Oklahoma State will look for a new coach, and that was a big. I mean, they're having to pay a pretty large buyout for him. I think a lot of people thought that would go much better. And then in the AAC, Brett, Scott Pera for Rice, he was fired earlier today. And I'm hearing some people throw Josh Pastner's name into that running at Rice. So could be an interesting job opening to keep an eye on.
Texas, notably Houston ties in the AAU world with his dad, with his father, Hal. And I think I hope that happens. I hope that happens for Josh. I do.
Yeah, I do. Especially, I mean, if he wants to get back in coaching, I've said it multiple times. I really like him on TV. I think he's really good at it. But if his heart's still, and most of these coaches, their hearts are still in coaching.
And the pay is better.
That's right. The pay is better. So, and I think that's, Josh Pastner is a guy that can go and get some energy going around Rice. Obviously, a very energetic person, very positive person. And, I'm
Do we run a video tribute first time he's back through FedEx Forum?
I don't think so. I think a coach that
I'm serious. We don't.
I don't think so. I mean, as much as I love Josh, at the same time, we were all cheering when Georgia Tech announced that they were hiring him.
But the cheering was, oh, yay!
That's right. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would like it.
Oh, darn, Josh. Oh, thank goodness he's gone.
That's right. Oh, no, they took Josh. All right.
It's a little bit like for kin folks at the holiday season. Great to see you. Happy New Year. Boy, I didn't think they'd ever leave.
Oh, yeah, you go in, you do all your hugs, and then you're like, all right, time to go. I'm ready. I'm ready to get out of here. So maybe, I don't know, but certainly will be a job to keep an eye on, especially if Josh Pastner's name stays in that mix.
I like that suggestion. I think he will, and should pop up in other places. To continue on that Joe Lunardi theme, he also has another level of games. Win here, then win again, and that could change again tomorrow to win here and then again.
Right, and kind of
Memphis against Wichita State's first game.
Certainly. But I think going back to Joe Lunardi's list, I think one thing that seems to be hurting the Tigers, looking at that list, seeing some of the names on there, is we've already mentioned some of these matchups, and I feel like going down the list of
nobody's
just games,
dropping off.
Well, that, and we're going through these names, and those seem interchangeable. And the thing is, it's not Memphis beating Wichita State. It's, St. John's beating Seton Hall. It's that's going to mean much more to the committee than Memphis beating Wichita State. And I think that's hurting the Tigers a little bit, that these teams on the bubble in the power conferences, they're playing other big boy teams, and the Tigers don't really have that benefit right now.
And the Tigers today, the net is at 70, and it's just not going to move much today, tomorrow. With winning, it's not moving much. Really, maybe until another shot at FAU Sunday.
Yeah, and Brett,
if that happened, the potential shot.
Yeah, the potential shot.
Tigers down 5 as we speak.
Well, you mentioned that when the Tigers went on that losing streak, because they got that net up to a decent range when they were on that win streak.
Sure did.
And, you were the first one to mention it when they went on that losing streak and dropped all the way down to the low 70s, high 80s of, at this point, even if you have a lot of success because of who you're playing, it's really not going to go anywhere. And you said they're at 70 today. It's been in that range pretty much ever since that SMU game.
Yeah, it's just nowhere really to go, and you're kind of stuck with it. Now, is it the first metric they break out? I don't think so, but it's broken out, and if it's there for a tiebreaker, I think they would and should use it. If you have it, you should use it. What sync me up with your time on the game as you're watching?
1:45.
Okay, you're ahead of me.
How about that? Look at that. The TVs we got up here. I mean, you got to love them.
I'm at 1:45 right now.
Oh, wow. You're a good couple seconds behind.
So you're going to have to give up
in the game
refreshers and updates then.
Wow, I guess
I'm
will.
giving out old news.
You are. I mean, you're giving last year news.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry for anybody that might be taping it to watch tonight at home on your Betamax that's bigger than most refrigerators.
Oh, I love that.
So if you're doing that, sorry, we're blowing it for you. Used to get that blowback this time of year.
Oh, I believe it.
Hey, I'm recording the game, and we don't. And I'm so selfish, I don't want you doing live radio and telling everybody else that wants to know the information. Brian, I think you can tell through the years I have real contempt for those people.
You do. You've brought it up a couple of times. A funny story about recording games. Jay Morgan, who used to produce for us, obviously a big New York Rangers fan. And obviously here in this area, nobody's paying attention to the New York Rangers. And so I also like hockey. I'm wearing my Kraken hoodie right now. I've got a Maple Leafs sweater on the way. But I like hockey. I keep up with hockey. And there will be a couple times where I'll text and be like, oh, what a goal! Oh, 2-0 lead. How about the Rangers? And he'll text me back very politely. I'm taping the game. Please do not do that again. And I'm like,
I got it with a friend of mine over the Ryder Cup last year.
Oh, see, I when it comes to like basketball, baseball, football, certainly, and especially like a big golf tournament like that. Now, if I give you an update, if I text you about something, that's your fault. Now, if it's hockey and we're in Memphis, sure, I'll play. But other sports like that, I'm not playing with that. No,
free game.
It's free game. I mean, that's on you.
And you know, I'm playing golf and going to watch later. Don't. Heck, how was I supposed to know that?
Well, then don't look at your phone. Play golf.
That's right.
Put your phone in your bag and play golf. That's hilarious.
Right. I think it has been revealed I had real contempt for the Betamax recording people.
No, you certainly have. I don't think that's a secret at all. Well, let me set up today's show.
Really, my contempt is for selfish people.
Well, and that's a very very good point. A lot of selfish people out there. Don't be selfish, people. Let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. Tigers currently down to about 30 seconds left in the first half. 3:30, we're going to continue to talk college basketball, talk more about this Tigers game. About that point, they'll be at halftime, so we can look back at the first half, talk about what the Tigers did well, what they did not do well, talk some other scores, take a look at some of those bubble teams, basically what we've been doing here and yesterday. I mean, what else are you supposed to do these days with all of these games going on, some really good ones? 3:45, we'll talk Grizzlies as they played last night against the Hornets and came up short in that one. But some fun performances for sure last night for the Grizzlies. So we'll talk to them at 3:45. 4 o'clock, we'll stick with the NBA. Keith Smith from Spotrac and the Front Office Show. He'll join us to talk the NBA. 4:30, we'll talk some more college basketball. At that point, the Tigers game will either be wrapping up or already done. So we'll talk a lot about the Tigers win or loss. Look at some other scores. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston will join us. We'll talk all things Tigers. Hopefully, at that point, we'll be looking ahead to tomorrow's matchup against UAB. But we'll be out with Greg a little early, about 5:18 or so. Then we'll get to Taco Bell crunch time around that time so that we're out early for Ole Miss pregame versus Texas A&M at 5:30. That tip-off scheduled for 6 o'clock. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Head out to Family Leisure for factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and patio furniture. It's pool season. Get by Family Leisure and check out the new 2024 patio furniture sets. Pool season will be here before we know it, so buy now and get in line for pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Save $1,000 to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Also, special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and outdoor kitchens. So head out to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sports Time, and it is produced by Johnny Hill, and we're with you till about 5:30 today before we head to Nashville for Ole Miss and Texas A&M SEC tournament action there. We want you to join us at 901-360-8255. Text, talk, and that's the guest line. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text, talk, and guest line. We want you to join us at 901-360-8255. As always, from our Family Leisure Studios, and as always, this hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. The one and only Lexus dealership in town. You can call them at 901-334-9673, but better yet, stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, 35-33. That's the score at the half for Tigers and Shocker. So Tigers go into the half trailing by 2. And honestly, I know they've beaten Wichita twice this season, but up until this point in first half, it's been extremely close. First game on the road against Wichita, very back and forth in the first half. I think Memphis had maybe a 2-point lead, maybe a 3-point lead at half in that game before just the unbelievable shooting that they brought out in the second half. The second game here in Memphis, they were trailing by almost double digits really late in the second half and had to come back, storm back in the final couple of minutes to win that game. So most of these games have been back and forth. It's been the second half where the Tigers have really asserted themselves. We remember back a couple weeks ago against UAB where the Tigers trailed by 15 points in the first half and came back in the second half. Now, the difference between those two games and this one is both those games where the Tigers came back and secured wins from behind were both at home. Now, this one in a neutral site at Dickies Arena. Will they be able to come out with that same energy? I guess we'll find out in a couple of minutes. David Jones, currently the leading scorer with 13 minutes. We've seen 3 guys off the bench, but only one has scored. That'd be Jaden Hardaway, 1 for 2 from the field. So we'll see what the Tigers can do in the second half, but currently down 2.
So we wanted basketball. We got it, don't we?
Man,
everywhere you look, you've got the basketball
not
at halftime.
Screens.
Not enough screens. A lot of screens, but not enough.
That's
Never
right.
enough, is
Never
it?
enough.
Halftime in Nashville with South Carolina leading the Razorbacks 38-35 in that one. But my top story, it's this game for the Tigers. They're down at the half. Do I sound like I'm freaking out?
Not at all. Far
Not
from
at
freak
all.
out.
I think the pace is in the Tigers' favor, but Wichita State was able to slow it down a little bit from that when I first alluded to that until they got to the halftime. I don't think they can play it that consistently at that pace. They're going to try to speed up. When they try to speed up, the Tigers should really exploit it. And then if the Tigers win, they play tomorrow afternoon. And that game is scheduled for 2 o'clock tomorrow, and that will be against UAB in that one. Win those two. Win today, win tomorrow. Then you can really, by the time not when we come on there tomorrow, but mid-show tomorrow, we will have a really good feeling about how this weekend can play out. There's just not enough upsets going on around the country, though. There's so many cars, and it leaves the clearest path to getting to the NC tournament is winning it all and winning on Sunday.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day has just been all the basketball. I mean, when you look around at some of these results, I want to go back to last night because at one point last night, you looked up and Missouri, a team that has not won a single game in conference action, was leading Georgia. You had Cincinnati all over Kansas, and you had DePaul beating Villanova. Brett, I said it last
Villanova
week.
was lucky. That would have helped the Tigers.
Very lucky. That would have really helped the Tigers. I think Villanova is a bunch of frauds. Now, I said that to Johnny earlier, me saying that now probably means they're going to go out and beat Marquette tonight, just because I said that. That's how it usually goes. I just don't trust this Villanova team. Brett, if you'll remember, preseason, I had Villanova in my Final Four. I was very high on the moves they made in the offseason, some of the guys they were able to bring back and some of the guys they were able to bring in from the transfer portal, but it just hasn't worked out. I haven't really liked it, and I'm starting to get to the point. I feel like I'm very generous with times for coaches. I give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to see them work out. I want to see most coaches succeed, but I'm getting to the point with Kyle Neptune where I'm starting to question him as the right fit at Villanova. So we'll see what happens today, later tonight for them against Marquette. But Brett, like you said, today it's been a lot of the more marquee names, a lot of the teams that the Tigers have their eyes on in terms of the bubble, and it really just has not worked out so far for the Tigers. St. John's all over Seton Hall right now. Pittsburgh on top of Wake. Now that one's starting to get interesting, 61-56 with about 6.5 minutes left. So that one could be interesting. But like we said earlier, seems like those teams are very interchangeable at this point. So it's been a fun day of basketball, but certainly for the Tigers and their at-large hopes, if there was any at-large hope, it seems like that is slowly starting to go out the door.
Oh, Bryant, you were right there very close to my not top story. And it's not necessarily Kyle Neptune. I don't think he's the piece. I don't think he's, first of all, going to get fired at Villanova, but I don't think he is the long-term guy, and that's that's the point you were making. Yeah. But who did he succeed? I think some of these coaching openings out there. What if Jay Wright puts his name in the hat?
Oh, man.
What if somebody, now look, we've seen a lot of reclamation acts with coaches.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that we thought were through. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. I mean, that visual of Chris Beard, that was bad.
Yeah.
But when the case got sorted out, Ole Miss was fine by hiring him, and he's done a good job with no problems there. Will Wade's another one.
Yep.
What about Greg Marshall? Now, I know he's sitting on a huge buyout. Those people are born to coach.
Yep.
And then the idea of, and we got to ask Keith Smith about this. Don't let me forget. Write it down.
Write it down.
Billy Donovan from the Bulls back to college coaching. We know what Keith Smith's going to say. I'm scared to even bring up Brad Stevens. Do you want to do it or do you want me to do it?
Hey, whatever you want to do. If you want to draw straws, we can do that.
Because he's going to swat it away, and we might get a text later. Please don't ask me dumb questions like that. Because running the Boston Celtics is better than, and especially in this atmosphere, in this coaching environment that you have to step back into. There's a lot of musical chairs out there. There's a lot of dominoes to fall, and I think keep an eye on Greg Marshall. Yeah. Does he re-enter, and does Jay Wright come out of retirement? He was no scandal at all with him. But I would say in the order that I think any of that could happen would be Jay Wright barely ahead of Greg Marshall, with Brad Stevens' return to college as a faraway galaxy.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty far shot. But hey, stranger things have happened before, so I wouldn't be shocked if I saw something like that happen.
And to get back in this environment of coaching.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly different than when those guys left it. And I don't know. I just don't know if you're a guy that has been in college basketball and you get out and then you try to go in, I think it'd be pretty hard. But
if Louisville went to Jay Wright and they showed him, said, "Here is your NIL money," and it's significant.
We'll make it easy for you.
We got the facilities, we got the history and tradition, basketball craze state, great league. We pay more than CBS pays.
Yeah, certainly. And, you've heard kind of the rumors with him. Some people say, oh, he loves the desk and he loves talking all the hoops. But then some people say, no, he really wants to get back to coaching. He really misses
And don't
coaching.
They usually engineer that? They kind of give half the crew, no way I'm returning. I got the good life.
That's right.
Oh, I'm dying to come back.
That's right.
And then that way, half's right, and you don't make your bosses at CBS mad.
Exactly. So we'll see. It's going to be, I said it the other day, I thought it was going to be a very interesting offseason. It's starting to look like it's going to be very, very interesting in terms of coaching searches. Well, let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more college hoops.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir. It's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE72, 39.85, MSRP 22,320. Sportage R7, 24,7640, MSRP 29,635. Telluride RG 49,9963, MSRP 41,005. Includes all rebates and incentives. Best finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/1/2024. Dealer stock only.
Hey, it's my man Jeff Allen bringing sweet deals from Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Hey, Randy, I've got a 2024 Kia Forte LXS that gets 41 mpg highway, and you can hit the road for just $219 a month.
That's awesome. What else you got?
2024 Kia Sportage LX, $289 a month. Both 36-month lease and $34.99 due at signing. Or go big in a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $429 a month. 36-month lease and $39.99 due at signing.
Plus, get peace of mind with the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
We're online 24/7, KiaMountMoriah.com.
I negotiate for a living. I negotiate contracts.
Even though Melanie McMeekin had been loyal to a local jewelry store for over 10 years, when it came time to upgrade her engagement ring, she decided to let her jeweler compete with Genesis Diamonds.
So if I went in with the same ring specifications to both places, what were they going to bring back to me? That's what I was interested in.
Guess what? It was no contest. Genesis beat the other jeweler hands down.
I did get a higher quality diamond for significantly less money. It was about an $8,000 difference.
So less money and higher quality.
Both things made it very compelling for us to switch and go with Genesis. I'm definitely glad I shopped around, and my husband is extremely glad I shopped around.
Have you made the switch to Genesis?
You can get into where you go back to the same place over and over again, but when you start thinking about your money, it becomes pretty important.
Genesis Diamonds, Memphis's direct diamond importer.
Make sure that you put Genesis on your list. I hadn't done that in the past, and I wish I would have done it sooner.
At Poplar and Perkins Extended.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's been a pretty busy one out here with several EMS calls out here the last 15, 20 minutes. Yes, they continue to work on 55 on the bridge. That's going to take some getting used to for at least another 10 days or so. Traffic's only a little bit busy certain sections in the Midtown area. I-40 over here at Chelsea as it builds already 240 east from Mill Branch out to 385. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. Check them out at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, we're at the half at a lot of these games that tipped off around the same time. Mentioned it earlier. Tigers and Wichita State at the half right now. Wichita State up 35-21. 34-33. We're also at halftime in the SEC tournament. South Carolina up by 3 over Arkansas. Arkansas had to win a wild one in overtime last night to get to this game. South Carolina coming in and looking to get a win against Arkansas and keep this really fun season going. Lamont Paris got a extension earlier today, it was announced. So good things going in South Carolina, and could cap off a really good day for the men's basketball program with a win today against Arkansas.
Two games that look pretty similar to each
Very
other.
similar.
Both Arkansas and South Carolina and Memphis and Wichita State game have looked a lot alike. One thing that's looked very different, the crowds.
Oh man, especially at the at the American. I wasn't surprised with the lack of people there, but it's bad, and it's gonna
waiting
stay bad.
for reinforcements, and I don't know where they come from.
I don't think any reinforcements.
SMU and North Texas better really roll out,
and I mean,
and I don't expect them.
Maybe SMU brings some people, but like I don't see many people coming out for North Texas. I don't
Duckett's available.
I don't really see anybody coming out for SMU. Now, maybe if SMU goes on a run and gets to Sunday or Saturday, then maybe. But I don't expect anybody there tomorrow for their game.
And I think I heard Dave
today, I guess,
either yesterday morning or this morning with you say this year and 2 more, or this year and 3 more. Mm-hmm. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
You know, if it's this year and 2 more, that's 27 at the earliest that Memphis could bid on it. If it's this one and 3 more, then that's 28. And I want it. I want it for downtown. I want it here. But my question would be, with this conference, what has changed from the last time Memphis hosted that will make these crowds any better than in 2019 when we had Memphis and Houston on a Saturday afternoon and a semifinal game? I'm going to be charitable here and say 8,500.
Yeah, no, I remember that game. I did that game on the school radio station. It wasn't a fantastic crowd. But Brett, what I say to all these people that are talking about, getting the tournament to Memphis, I hope in 3 or 4 years when the Tigers can bid on it, that the Tigers there's been another round of expansion.
Are in this tournament.
And that the Tigers are not in this conference anymore. That's
And
what I'm hoping.
you can host it in DeSoto County for all we care.
That's right. So that's
And the
what I'm
American,
gonna
the
say.
AAC can go where for all we care. Brian, that's the forest for the trees right there. Don't bid on this thing at all.
No.
Be bidding on an ACC tournament or a Big 12 tournament or something else you're in by then.
Brett, do you have it on SEC Network right now?
I do not, but I can hit the previous button and I'm magically there. I'm there now.
Oh, my goodness. Is that who I think it is? Right behind her.
It is.
Oh,
David Cobb.
Cobb getting some screen
front and
time.
center.
I've got to text him. We see him on television.
I texted him the universal in the camera shot. I said, man, if you've ever picked your nose, don't do it now.
Right now. Oh, that's great. No, but yeah, wouldn't that be hilarious, Brett? Going back to the American Conference, if Memphis bidded on it, got it, and then left the tournament, and they're not in it anymore. What are they going to do then? Oh man, I do see,
you're so right. Never mind all the legalese. We don't want to be in this junk conference.
I don't want to be in this league anymore. I don't want to be sitting here hoping we get it in 3 to 4
All right, tell me if this is a good or bad thing.
Okay.
There's not, other than Memphis, there's not anybody left that somebody else is going to pick that will tap out of this conference.
No.
Is that good or bad?
I
think it's good that you're the last one that the bigger ones haven't, kind of cherry picked.
Yeah.
But nobody's out there in realignment going, key to realignment. Got to have North Texas.
Got to have UTSA.
South Florida, is that a potential?
I think South Florida is.
I do too. After I've gone that far and saying all that.
But those are the only two. What's one more? When you look at this, conference, so maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah,
maybe it's not.
The whole key is Temple.
Yeah. It's
nobody.
There's nobody, and. It's very reflective in the, looking at the arenas that there's just not a ton of support of people that are going to drive or fly or get to this tournament in Fort Worth, and it's just very poor showing so far for the
on the
AAC
college
tournament.
football front. Breaking news. I'm reading from Heather Dinich.
Mm-hmm.
Heather Dinich's Twitter site, X site. She is the very fine reporter for ESPN, really on all things college football playoffs. She just tweeted, multiple sources told ESPN on Thursday. Let me translate that. Bill Hancock told her. Each league in Notre Dame, and she and Bill are really good friends, and Bill's a really good man. Each league in Notre Dame are expected to sign a legal agreement by midday on Friday. It's a memorandum of understanding to the cool kids. That's an MOU that lays out broad terms of what the next contract will look like. That means for 24 and 25 12-teamer and beyond 14 teams.
Wow. So, I mean, we said it last week, Brett. This is it's gonna move fast, and it's already moving kind of faster than I thought it would.
The battle's going to be for how the 14 teams, how it's laid out. Is it going? I've heard the model of. Let me see if I can get all my numbers right. Of 3, 5, what's it, 6, 11, 3?
Wow.
Something
Holy
like.
cow.
I mean, you've heard all, and
Sure.
I'll say it again. I want 14 at larges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I submit through the years, not every year. I could do this research, but I don't have the time, and I don't really want to. But I don't think I would miss it much over the last since Tiger football has revitalized.
Yeah.
And I heard you and Dave crediting Justin Fuentes so rightly this morning for it. Since it was revitalized and has been vibrant and a player, a real player, nationally, locally.
Certainly.
I'm going to say that was 2012 season. Let's start with the 13-14 season.
Okay.
So that's roughly 10 years.
Sure.
A lot of those years, no doubt, won from non-power.
Yep.
And sometimes two.
Yeah.
And sometimes two would have edged into that 14.
No, you're absolutely right.
A couple of times it would have gotten two.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can think of probably 2 or 3 just off the top of my head that would have gotten
Memphis in that mix.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. A couple times. Not only the time they went to the Cotton Bowl, but there's been a time or two out there that they were not the top
I think
team.
at larges would help Memphis, especially if stuck in the AAC.
I say yes, but also then do you have the voting reflective of power conferences kind of getting the benefit of the doubt and being ranked higher to get more power teams in?
That's a good question, and that's a great question and a great premise because we're going to get so big in all these conferences. I think they're going to do their designated conference games, of course, in a conference, and then even play their non against other conference teams that don't count against the conference slate.
That's right. Oh, holy cow! Wow.
Like a potential, well, even at 18, SEC or Big Ten, they play the 8 or 9, and then at least of those other 3, 2 would be played. Let's say Alabama plays North Carolina, but it doesn't count as a conference game.
I see.
But their TV partners will want that.
Sure.
And the Big Tens will as well.
Absolutely.
So that would take you down. So if they didn't do it all exclusively that way and even left one open, it leaves you so little room to impress.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. So, but that's interesting. I think we're going to get a lot more information about how it's going to work, how this new tournament's going to work going forward for college football. I want to give some updates of these games. We've got 2 teams that have jumped out in the second half. South Carolina all over Arkansas right now, 46-35, 8-0 run to start the second half. For the Tigers, a 7-0 run to start the half for Wichita State. That score is now 44-33. Memphis has just called a timeout with about 16 minutes remaining in the game. So both Arkansas and Memphis scoreless start to the second half.
And you have the score is what?
44-33.
44-33. Thank you.
Yeah.
I misheard.
No.
Thank you. Yeah, that's correct. 44-33, Wichita State leads, and the body language does not look good.
Not
and
good
no Malcolm Dandridge, and even taking him with them, you left some hope of why take him if they might not get some last second clearance. They're not getting any last second clearance, and it tells me that whenever right now they're going to go that full. We can't comment on its ongoing investigation, but at some point in 2 or 3 years, there will be the final dossier report on this. It's going to tell me I'm predicting it's going to be big, and it's going to be nasty.
Yeah.
Or you don't miss this many games in a 5-year hometown guy, beloved the mayor, Malco,
right.
and it not have been major.
Yeah, I mean when he missed,
when your own in-house people are investigating it.
Sure. And when he missed 2 games, that's kind of when I said, yeah, I think this might be the rest of the season thing, just because you felt like if there was nothing there, they would make sure it was a fast, let's look into it. Nothing there, cool, we're out, you're back on the court.
Exactly.
And obviously want to do their due diligence, but if there's nothing there, it's very easy to go see nothing there, get you back on the court.
1 or 2 games pacifies the NCAA, too. Look, we held him out 2 games.
Exactly.
I mean, we brought him in. He gave his side of the story, and
we looked into it for a week and a half. He missed 2 games. Back out there, we didn't find anything. But the fact he's missed all these games and really no word, I thought maybe you get like a last-second buzzer beater before the game. I want maybe a 15% chance of something like that happening. But especially him missing this one. If the Tigers can come back and win this game, I don't think any way that Malcolm Dandridge plays for any of these games. I think it's already behind us. Yeah,
it is, and unfortunate, just a really, really bad way to end a 5th year that I think he had his best year, and was beloved Tiger, part of that famous East High School team. That remember when some local were saying that East High School team could beat Toby Smith's Tigers?
I remember it very well.
Why would you ever listen to people that said something that stupid like that again? I'm serious.
That's a good question because it was crazy when it was said, and I think there were very big reasons why those things were said. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think it was also fueled with the fact that there were a lot of people behind the scenes that wanted Penny Hardaway to get the job, and nothing wrong with that.
Some of the same people that saying Musa Cisse would develop a 3-point shot and would be a lottery pick.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness.
And we've talked about it before. I mean, I went to
Okay, so I went 0-2 yesterday on AAC picks. That ain't saying Musa Cisse is going to be a lottery pick.
No, I went and saw Musa Cisse play. He was not a lottery pick.
I know during March Madness you can have a lot of fun at 2 great barbecue locations in a great barbecue town. The Commissary, the new Collierville Commissary, Houston, Levy, and Poplar are the original in Germantown, perfect for big groups to gather and watch it at Houston, Levy, and Poplar for all the big games. It's warm enough to get outside on that patio tonight and enjoy games all the way till the game's end. Memphis-style barbecue and ribs done the slow-cooked Memphis way. If you're craving an easier way to order, text Commissary right now, 33733. They'll have it waiting for you at your table. They'll bring it out to your car for you, however you would like. Start with all the appetizers like the smoked chicken wings or the tamales or the cheese plate or a staple of sports, the barbecue nachos. The barbecue nachos invented, created in the early 80s by Walker Taylor and his team that we all get to enjoy now wherever we are, but even more if we're at either Commissary location. Dig into the ribs of the shoulder, chopped or pulled on a plate, on a sandwich, all the sides, deviled eggs, slaw, beans, bread, and you can order it by the pound or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. For all the fun of March, started at the Commissary. And the desserts, like the lemon icebox pie, the banana pudding, strawberry cake, just delicious. Getting ready for Easter, keep that in mind, whether to have it at home or some of those desserts or one of the hams from the Commissary for the Easter season. 901-754-5540. Go online at commissarybbq.com. They're in Collierville and Germantown, the party areas, the orders to go, catering, tailgating, anytime, any season. 901-754-5540 or online at commissarybbq.com.
Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, the Grizzlies, they were in action last night. We'll talk about that next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us
at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Jason, the main man Marshall's marking down everything on the lot. He just can't help himself.
I love making my customers happy at Gossett Volkswagen on Covington Pike.
Well, Jason, how you doing it this month?
With deals like this, Randy, choose from 2024 Taos S, 2024 Tiguan S, or a 2024 Jetta Sport. Take your pick, just $275.96 a month.
Jason, how about Tiguans?
How about 0% for 60 months on 24 Tiguans, plus 1.9 for 60 months on all Atlas and Atlas Cross Sports, and no reasonable offer will be refused.
So hook up with Jason, the main man Marshall at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, or go online, GossettVWMemphis.com.
Just come see me, Jason, the main man Marshall at Gossett Volkswagen on Covington Pike, where we're charging forward and charging less every day.
Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike.
All 36 monthly, $7,500 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Taos, RMO 53314, MSRP 26063. Tiguan, RM 003120, MSRP 30026. Jetta, RMO 48802, MSRP 25506. Cannot combine APR with 3,000 customer cash rebate. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details with approved credit. Dealer stock only. Offer expires end of the month.
Where are my basketball fans at? Present! Welcome to Fandom 101. The madness is upon us. When the biggest ballers in the land take the court, we need you loud, proud, and live cheering them on. The NCAA Division I men's basketball first and second rounds, March 22nd and 24th in Memphis. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/MVP tickets. Class dismissed.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy, and I've got a question for you. Who wants to pay full retail for a pre-owned car or truck when you can buy it at wholesale? Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, right off Covington Pike, has an unlimited selection of super sharp pre-owned cars and trucks you can buy at the wholesale price. And right now, you can use your tax refund as all or part of a down payment and still just pay the wholesale price. Chevy Silverados, F-150s and Ram trucks, Tahoes, Explorers, Jeep Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, Renegades, a Cadillac SRX, Camaros, Mustang convertible, Hyundais. Check it out. Go to WUcars.com or Google Wholesale Unlimited Memphis. This is great. Your money goes a long way when you can buy at the wholesale price, and tax refund time makes it even better. Go to Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, just off Covington Pike, with guaranteed approval. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports 56, and you can thank me later.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better? I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We've talked a lot of college basketball through the first 45 or so minutes today, but we're switching gears for a little bit here, talking some NBA. And the Grizzlies, they were in action last night against the Charlotte Hornets. A 110-98 loss for the Grizzlies. Brett, you were in attendance for that game. I want to talk about the Grizzlies for sure, but Brandon Miller, your first time seeing him in a Hornets uniform, what did you think of the young man from Alabama?
Why I went last night, wanted to see him in his rookie year. I'm gonna take one for the team and go see the Spurs in a few weeks.
Oh, there you go.
And see Big Victor. But it's to see them in their rookie year more than anything else. And I locked in mostly all night on him, and he belongs. He matters. But they had another rookie that mattered last night.
Oh, man. The Misic, I don't even know how to pronounce his name.
That's why I left it there. I left you hanging.
25 points, 5 for 6 from 3. Just an unbelievable performance
with
from
pretty
him.
good D on him.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And also added 8 assists. It wasn't like he just came out there sitting in the corner all night and knocking down threes. 9 for 10 from the field and 8 assists. A really good game for him.
And another thing really struck me last night, watching young Brandon Miller and this rookie that had a good night, and even a great veteran like Bridges and some other pieces that are good for them. A year from now, they're going to be right back where they are.
Exactly.
If the Grizzlies just get the blessing of some half-decent luck.
And I know it feels like a blessing right now, but if that's a blessing, oh, Lord, I don't know.
Charlotte, a year from now, is going to be
still going to be bad.
Plus or minus 5, around 20. It could be 15. It could be 25.
Sure.
We know here comes the cavalry for the Memphis Grizzlies.
That's right.
And a decent pick. What he contributes a year from now, I don't know. But we know that Ja Morant's going to contribute a lot. And Marcus Smart and Desmond Bain and Jaren re-engage with them and other complimentary players. G.G. Jackson, who was really good last night.
Really good.
And we know the Grizzlies have hope. Charlotte is still in the abyss.
Yeah, no, and it's just been rough for them. And last night when you're
they
going,
won, congratulations,
sure, good for them. And when you're going up, as undermanned as the Grizzlies are, going up against a guy like Miles Bridges, you just have no answer for him. There's no answer on the Grizzlies right now for Miles Bridges. But like you mentioned, G.G. Jackson, a really good game. 26 points. 4 rebounds for him. Also, I thought Scottie Pippen Jr. played well last night. 9 points, 10 assists with Scottie Pippen Sr. in attendance. So that was a fun kind of side story last night.
Sure was. And legendary Hall of Fame player from Hamburg, Arkansas, the University of Central Arkansas. What a story for Scottie Pippen. For young Scottie Pippen, this time next year, if he's on the Memphis Grizzlies and they have not been beset by injury, what man in the rotation is he?
9th or 10th, I think.
9 was wow. I'm sitting there last night. I'm thinking on a good team, he's ninth man.
Sure, I think he can give you some minutes though, and and play well. But yeah, he's not first, second, or third guy off the bench.
If he is, you're going to be around 17 wins.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
It'll go hand in glove.
So another loss for the Grizzlies, but at this point, we like losses. We like when G.G. Jackson plays.
I don't know what I like anymore. I like to win.
Yes.
I'm okay when I lose.
Very strange.
Hey, Brett, I'm good with all these losses, man.
I am too, because every percentage helps.
We're
every
just going
percentage
to games to see other rookies on other teams. It's a weird year. It's a very weird year.
If the Grizzlies stay that 5-6 range, I'm going to fall in love with Dalton Connect.
Oh, yeah. No, I believe it. Some score updates before we get out of here as we wrap up our first hour. Wichita State 51-38 over the Tigers with about 11 and a half minutes left. It's really going from bad to worse. 16-5 here in the second half in terms of scoring. In the SEC, South Carolina still up on Arkansas 53-45. So a couple local scores as both those tournaments really getting going today. And in the SEC, we'll see those, and I guess in the AAC as well, we'll see those four top four seeds going tomorrow. So it'll be a lot of fun. But let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we're sticking with the NBA. We're going to talk to Keith Smith next.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
It's time to discover your new Kia at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And there's never been a better time to drive off in your new Kia. Make it happen today in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS. 41 MPG, $219 a month. How about sporty 2024 Kia Sportage LX? We Gossett $289 a month. Both $34.99 to its signing. And get rugged in 2024 Kia Telluride LX. $429 a month. $39.99 to its signing, all 36-month lease. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE72, $39.85, MSRP $22,320. Sportage R7, $24,7640, MSRP $29,635. Telluride RG $49,9963, MSRP $41,005. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/1/2024. Dealer stock only.
When a cold keeps you up, try NyQuil Severe Honey Flavor. The nighttime, sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, Honeylicious, best sleep with a cold medicine. Powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a dreamy honey taste to give your body the rest it needs to get that cold gone. Wake up refreshed, feeling relieved after enjoying the delicious flavor of NyQuil Severe Honey. NyQuil Severe Honey Flavor, use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the all-new Vokey SM10 wedges. Made for lower flight, improved feel, and maximum spin. Unlock your ultimate wedge. Play with the new Vokey SM10 wedges. Visit us in store at Edwin Watts Golf Shops or online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Sports 56 traffic.
To pick up with more volume just in the last 15-20 minutes southbound on 240 trying to escape Midtown as you head on down from Union towards Norris as traffic's really picking up out here over here around Chelsea on I-40, especially going eastbound as that traffic increases on 40 East as you continue out towards Fayette County. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show, and on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And joining us now on our Sissy's Log Cabin phone line, Keith Smith joins us now. Keith, thanks so much for joining us. I know this is probably going to be a dumb question, but I got to ask it. Did you expect Victor Wembanyama to make this much of be this good, be this far along and this exciting already into his rookie year? Because I remember around the draft, obviously the hype was enormous, but there were a lot of people saying, well, he probably needs to fill out. He might need a couple years. It might be slow for him. But he's really hit the ground rolling, and it seems like every night the Spurs play, there's some sort of highlight reel from him or some sort of record that he has broken in terms of rookies. Have you been surprised, or did you expect this all along?
Stuff in there, what you asked. So I would say this exciting? Yeah, absolutely. I expected him to be this exciting. This good already? No, didn't expect that at all. I didn't think he would come into the league and figure things out this quickly. But what we're seeing, in addition to his, obviously ridiculous physical gifts, the size, the athleticism, the wingspan, all of that, he processes things very, very quickly. What I've been super impressed with is he sees an action. You might get it with him once, maybe twice, but by that second or third time, he's figuring it out. And then you're not going to get it again on him. He's going to have it solved, and he's going to know what he's doing. So it is really, really impressive what he's been able to do.
Now, Keith, last night here in Memphis, I got the opportunity to see Brandon Miller, and he was good last night, and he's had a good season. But I remember when we were trying to find maybe somebody else for Rookie of the Year, you said, no, it's going to be a landslide of epic proportion, barring a catastrophic injury, and it's going to be. Wemby's winning it in a landslide.
Yeah, I think the only other guy that's going to get consideration is Chet Holmgren, and you're going to have all the arguments of he's not a real rookie, he was in the league, and all this and that. But by NBA rules, he is a rookie. So yeah, I think we're just in two different places with the way people think about that. But yeah, it's going to be Wembanyama. He has been absolutely incredible, and that's not to take much away from a guy like Brandon Miller, who's really come along strong. He's had a nice year. He's really figuring things out too, and Holmgren's obviously done very good. But yeah, Victor Wembanyama, we're probably only a couple years away, provided that the Spurs put the right players around him, where we start talking about him as a potential MVP of the league. That's how good he is.
What do the Spurs need to do in free agency, and what can they do?
It's funny because there's been a lot of discussion in the last week or so of, he's going to put pressure on them, and they have to win, and they've got to start winning right away, or he's going to want out and all that. And I don't know how much I buy that sort of stuff. I think he understands, hey, we just need to have direction, and they have direction. So for them, it's going to be another high draft pick this year, add to the talent base there in San Antonio, and just kind of keep building it up. But every decision you need to make now and moving forward needs to be, how does this guy fit with Victor Wembanyama? Because that's all we really care about. If they don't fit with Wemby, then it doesn't really matter because they're not going to be a part of things. So that's going to be the question you need to ask moving forward. And how do they fit with him? How do they help amplify him and support him in different ways? Because he's going to be everything for that franchise moving forward.
And a couple of fellow Frenchmen in this draft that could be potentially teammates of his with the Spurs. Front office, do they bring him in for conversation, consultation, and maybe his preference of who he would, after they know where they draft, of who they might add to their team through the draft?
Yeah, that's a good question. My guess is probably not yet. I think San Antonio, maybe you might have some, level of discussion of, hey, we're really interested in Alex Sarr. That's one of the Frenchmen. He's been playing over in Australia this year and had a nice year over there. He's been mentioned as a potential first overall pick. He'd also played with Overtime Elite as well as leading up to his time in Australia. So that's one player. The other one, Zachary Risache, is another guy who, he's more of a guard wing type player. So it's maybe you have some of those conversations, but I think the Spurs front office and Greg Popovich and R.C. Buford and Brian Wright, those guys, they know what they're doing there. They've done this for a long time. They've built championship-level teams. So there might be a little bit of discussion just to make sure, hey, there's no underlying issues here between you and these guys. Good? No? All right, let's move on.
Mm-hmm. Keith, we've been talking a lot about the Memphis Tigers today. They're in action right now, but a former Memphis Tiger has been playing really well for the Detroit Pistons this season. Had a massive game last night against the Raptors. Finished with 24 points and 23 rebounds. Also added 5 assists. That's Jalen Duren. Has been playing extremely well. What do you see him as in his future in the NBA, and what has kind of stood out to you so far in his young career?
Yeah, again, another guy who's just figuring things out very quickly on the fly, really processing the game quite well. It's been exciting to watch him. The athletic gifts were obviously there right from the jump, but what we're seeing now is this is a guy that can be a long-term anchor big for a defense that can be pretty good, and that's really remarkable because when we get to a place with a guy like Jalen Duren being able to do that just solves a lot of other issues. And his rebounding ability is special because a lot of times with rebounding, when we talk about it, it's just, are you going to go do it? Like, are you going to go get the ball? And that's what he does. It's whether it's offensive rebounds or defensive rebounds, he just goes up and gets it. And that's, good to see. He's also an improved passer this year, an improved screener. Those are the things that are a little less noticeable with his game. And I think the other thing is, too, the Pistons haven't asked him, hey, can you start shooting jumpers yet? Can we start doing X, Y, and Z? They're just keeping the game simple for him and trying to say, hey, you're going to do most of your work around the basket area, and you'll learn how to read as that second defender comes over to make the pass and the like. And he's really done well with all the stuff he's been tasked with so far.
Yeah, that body and that age, and you're right. They're really developing him smartly, and I think the rest of that will come. I think he will be a good outside shooter soon in his NBA career. Can the Pistons do anything with his contract after this year, or do they have to wait till the next year?
Yeah, so he has another year before he'll be extension eligible. So what you're going to see them do is sometime next summer, early fall, they'll pick up his rookie scale team option for 25-26. And then in the summer of 2025, that's when he'll be extension eligible. Cade Cunningham, a year ahead of him draft-wise, he's extension eligible this summer. But this is how quick it goes. We're talking about Jalen Duren's only in his second year, but by the end of that third year, you're having to start those conversations on, all right, are we going to extend a guy or not? And that's going to be the same thing with a teammate and his fellow draft class guy, Jaden Ivey. Is going to be in that same boat. And those are 3 young guys that the Pistons are, they've seen more from them this year, especially as a group from the 3 of them, but they're just going to have to keep kind of building with those guys. And you got, right on the heels of Duren and Ivey, it'll be a time for Osar Thompson, who's finishing his rookie year. But that's how quickly these rookie scale contracts come up, especially for extension purposes.
Keith, I lost the coin toss to have to ask this question with all the college basketball coaching movement. So I will tread lightly into this because I know it's one of your least favorite subjects, but I'm going to ask it. I'm going to ask it 2 parts. The first part, kind of easier than the second part. What about Billy Donovan back to the college game, to the right place, UCLA, Louisville, something like that? Or your least favorite part, smack me down, Brad Stevens.
Yeah, so I'll start with the second one. There's no indication Brad Stevens ever wants to go back to the college game. He's had opportunities, right? There was a point where it was all but him saying yes for him to go and coach Indiana, which that would have been the job, right? He's an Indiana kid. Like, that would have been the job, I think, if you were going to see him leave. But I think he's made it clear. He said, I may coach again at some point, but I think he's also made it very clear he doesn't really have interest in doing it on the college level. And I think it's the same for Billy Donovan. I think Billy Donovan, this deep now into the NBA, much like Stevens, I think what those guys realize is, I don't have to do all this recruiting. I don't have to go to all these, summer tournaments and stuff all over the place. I don't have to be, sitting in living rooms.
Chase 15-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to, tie myself to some kid. I don't have to deal with boosters. And now I think you're seeing people too with, there's a lot of stuff with some of these coaches, which I think is a little misplaced, doing all the crying and yelling about NIL money and everything that they're whining about there, because that seems ridiculous that they get millions of dollars, but these kids should get, nothing at all. Seems a little silly to me. And I get their scholarships and all that stuff. But yeah, I think those guys are just the kind of the extras that come with being a college coach. I think a lot of guys, once they get a taste of the NBA, they're like, nah, this is it. I don't ever want to go back to doing that.
Keith, you're right, and we touched on. I think I know who you were talking about, and we touched on it. And I love him. I love what he did for the sport. I love Coach Nick Saban, but I thought it was a really bad look to say the game has changed in my 50 years. Well, everything changes in 50 years, and coaches' salaries also changed very much in that time too.
Yeah, I mean, he has a house that's the size of some college campuses, so I don't have a lot of thoughts or care what he thinks about players not getting their fair share when a lot of players made him millions upon millions of dollars. That just seems a little ridiculous. And it's also, too, let's face it, with the biggest programs, both in football and basketball, what a lot of these coaches don't like is, hey, with NIL now, the playing field's been leveled because we all know what was going on. Now it's all been legalized, and all it takes is some rich donor from some small school to say, you know what, I've always wanted my team to be in the Final Four or to play in, the college football playoff, and they just start loading money in. Guess what? They're going to start getting recruits too. The whole idea of the purity of NCAA athletics has always been laughable to me because it's never been pure in my entire lifetime. And I think people want to make it into something it just isn't. If you really are that worried about it, go watch high school and go watch Division III, where that's at least a lot more that way. And if that means that much to you, go watch there. And I have no problem with that. That's great. Support too, and those levels can always use more support. But yeah, when you get big time coaches whining and crying about players getting money too, that part just that's something I don't want to hear.
Well said, and I agree, and we agree with the entirety of it. You also have you mentioned. I think DePaul has stated we're getting our NIL act together and we're getting back serious in the basketball business. Georgetown has with their he'll be second-year coach there next year, Ed Cooley. Georgetown's getting serious and raising money, and they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me tell you a funny story. Ed Cooley was one of my high school teachers back in the day.
What class?
Yeah, at Bridgewater Rainham High School in Massachusetts when he was finishing. He had finished his playing career, and he was working out of I don't know if he was quite with Al Skinner at URI yet. I think he might have still been at Stonehill College, which is now they're a Division I school, but they were a Division II school in Massachusetts. He was one of my high school history teachers back in the day, and we used to play a lot of basketball with him. He was always around campus and everything, so I'll always root for him no matter what.
Awesome.
Even if I kind of wish he had stayed at Providence, but I get why he did.
Oh, and I bet y'all did hit it off.
He was phenomenal. Yeah, a great guy. I'll never have anything bad to say about Coach Cooley.
That's awesome. We're talking NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. Tonight we've got a fun matchup on TNT, Mavericks and the Thunder. Luka Doncic, he's out tonight with a hamstring injury, but has put up like 7 straight triple doubles. I mean, unbelievable play from him lately. What have you seen from this Mavericks team? They're still a team in that play-in conversation, but they've now won 4 in a row and going up against a team that we've talked about a lot over the last couple of weeks, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who sit in second place. What do you think about this game tonight?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that Luke is out. That takes a ton of shine off this game, but it's for the Mavericks as a whole, they had been really rolling. Then they went into a period where they lost a handful of games in a row and had a couple kind of questionable losses in there. And then they had a period where they, picked back up and started rolling again. And what you're seeing is Luka and Kyrie have figured it out how to work together. And now it's about getting the right other guys around them. Daniel Gafford's playing really well. I think Daniel Gafford's something like 33 consecutive made field goals. So he's only 2 off the all-time record, which is absolutely bananas. And, I posted this the other day, is Luka Doncic has and will continue to get a lot of big men and a whole lot of money in their careers. As long as they just, play defense, rebound, and run to the rim, Luka's going to find them and set those guys up and get those guys paid. And then P.J. Washington has stepped in and done a nice job as well. I think they've gotten healthy. They've got Josh Green and Dante Exum back, which is good for their perimeter defense. That was something that's lacking. Ultimately, at the end of the day, for the Mavericks, they'll score enough points behind Luka and Kyrie and other guys. It's going to be, can they get enough stops? in games. And how are they going to handle when they go up against a team? Let's say whether it's in the play-in tournament or somewhere in the playoffs, they have to go against Sacramento and De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk and in that guard group. How are they going to defend those guys? That's going to be their challenge moving forward for them to really, take the step forward in the playoffs and be, more than just a fun team in the first round.
Yeah. The Phoenix Suns, also another one of those teams in the play-in conversation in the Western Conference. They won their last game. What have you seen this season? What has stood out to you this year? We know that kind of big three that they have, but all three of those guys have battled various injuries this season. What have you thought about the Suns this year?
Yeah, really up and down. And a lot of it's been injury related. They've rarely had those guys together enough for them to really find their rhythm. It's been very difficult for them to get any kind of consistency when one of Booker or Beal have been out of the lineup quite a bit. Kevin Durant has remarkably stayed pretty healthy all year long. So we're hopeful that'll continue, and he'll continue, because the one worry you have is you kind of feel like at some point Kevin Durant was going to pick up something, and that really hasn't happened. And, knock on wood, that hopefully that doesn't happen, at any point this year. But that's it. And then again, same questions. They're going to score points if those three guys are on the floor. It's going to be, how do they execute at the end of close games? And then what happens if they're in a position where they need to get stops? Are they going to be able to lock in and find a way to get enough stops? Because it only goes so far to be able to outscore everybody when you get into the postseason. And
Keith, you talked about it for a couple weeks leading up to it. Here come the champs. You look at the Western Conference standings, and on top, I mean, it's just by percentage points, but tied in the loss column, Oklahoma City. But there they are, Denver.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Denver is, I think what we've seen is they now know what it takes to get through the postseason, and it was going to be, hey, we just got to get there healthy. We're going to win enough to have a top seed. But I think they've had a handful of games in recent weeks where it's been, all right, let's remind everybody that the title goes through us. Where we're going to take down Boston. We're going to beat the Lakers. We're going to beat a handful of these other teams that are, they're the ones who are trying to catch us. Let's make sure everybody remembers, hey, this comes through us. And I know they've got, I think it's 3 games left against Minnesota. But other than that, they've got a pretty easy closing schedule. So it's going to be hard to see them finishing anywhere but atop the Western Conference. And if that's the case, boy, that's going to be tough, because it's a hard place to win anyway. But if you're talking about going in there in a must-win Game 7 situation, it's going to be really difficult to get that kind of win in Denver.
Keith, I don't know if it was last night at FedEx Forum or this morning on early morning TV, somewhere. I walked by or saw a TV, and like a panel discussion was, have we been sleeping on New Orleans, or look out, here comes New Orleans. I don't know how you've been covering the NBA and you've been sleeping on New Orleans. We've all been kind of readying ourselves really for a couple of years now for New Orleans to make this push.
Yeah, I think we've been waiting for it. The question is, I don't know how many people realize that it's actually kind of happening. They're just starting to create a little bit of separation, not a whole lot, but a little bit of separation there from the other teams in the play-in tournament, which is good to see. Now, it's only a game that they're up on the Kings and the Suns, so we don't want to go too crazy. And all those teams in the West, really, everybody in the West has been playing, at worst, pretty good basketball, and at best, far beyond that. But New Orleans' big thing, what I think the bigger talking point is, this is rounded into becoming a pretty good defensive team, and they've really become a really solid offensive team. And that is making them really tough. And Zion is playing kind of, it's not like it was that year, a couple years ago, when he really burst on the scene and everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is what this guy can be. But what we're seeing now is he's a little bit more committed to rebounding, a little bit more committed to defending. And that those are the things that are making the big, big difference as this New Orleans team makes the climb. I have a feeling, depending on who they draw in the first round, there's going to be some popular, the Pelicans might be a pretty, good team to pull an upset. I think some teams might get there. I don't know. We'll see what the matchups are. I don't know that I'll go that far. but I do think they're going to be a popular upset pick for sure.
Keith, last thing for you. With championship week going on in college basketball, the NCAA tournament starting next week, is there any college prospects that you're keeping your eyes on these next couple of weeks?
Yeah, and there's a couple guys that I'm really trying to make sure I see now because their seasons are probably just about over. I was watching Isaiah Collier a little bit today. He was his season's probably done. They lost to Arizona today. USC has a losing record, so that's likely it, and very likely that's going to be it for his collegiate career. And he was okay. You know, he wasn't great. I like Cody Williams a lot on Colorado. That's a team. Selfishly,
plays real late tonight.
Yeah, real late. And I selfishly start to hope some of these guys make it into the tournament proper and then have a tournament run so I can get a little bit more a chance to see some of these guys. And then, UConn took them a while to get going this morning, but once they woke up, boy, they dominated. And, they've got a whole host of guys, whether it's Stephen Castle, Donovan Clingan, Alex Caravan, Tristan Newton. There's a bunch of guys that can play on that team. And that Arizona team's loaded with guys as well. You got Caleb Love, Shaw Johnson, Larson, Boswell. Those are all guys that may play, deep, and they're probably going to be a high seed as well. So, and then of course Zach Edey and Purdue we'll have an eye on them. Duke and their host of guys. Kentucky's crazy to me. It's just that they have Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd, who may both be top 5 picks, and they come off the bench. For Kentucky, it's just crazy just the way that works out. But yeah, this is a fun time of year. I don't know if you guys have been following this one, the Houston TCU game. TCU has almost more offensive rebounds than they have points. They have 30 offensive rebounds and 43 points today.
Holy cow!
So, yeah, that's peak college basketball absurdity right there.
Yeah, I think that game started 16-0 Houston, didn't it?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, I don't think they scored for the first 10 minutes of the game. And
that's a rout in volleyball. We stop it after 16-0 in volleyball, don't we?
Yeah, we used to call it a skunk back in the pickup days. You skunked them. But, yeah, that Houston team's really tough. But, hey, Jamal Shedd, we'll see if he becomes a NBA-level guy or not. I think he probably is. He's probably their best NBA prospect this year. But that team, boy, every time I see them, all I see is them locking teams down defensively. They're really, really tough.
And that path for UConn, Keith, first weekend Podge to Barclays and Brooklyn, and then the next weekend to Boston to TD Garden. In Boston, do you know if they would use the famed parquet, or would the NCAA come in with their own floor there?
Yeah, they usually, when Boston has hosted in the past, they bring in their own floor. I think they have one. And the little thing I don't know if a lot of people know, the in-season tournament floors in the NBA in-season tournament, a lot of those were the NCAA floors with a paint job put on them. So they'll that was how they were able to have so many of those courts available and ready. They just did the in-season tournament paint job, and now they'll go back to the standard NCAA paint setup that they use there. So that would be my guess is they won't use the parquet. They'll bring in a NCAA floor.
Great fun fact you drop on us, Keith. Good stuff.
Yeah, this is what happens when you spend a lot of time online and you try to read everything you can.
That's it. That's why we love you.
Yeah. Well, Keith, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Keith.
You got it. Keith Smith with us talking NBA and some draft stuff as he covers it all for Spot Track and the front office show this hour, or this portion of our show brought to you by All-Star Chevrolet. That's where truck season's going on right now, right down Highway 78. First exit into Mississippi. You're at Kraft Goodman Road, and you're at All-Star Chevrolet, where all the cars and all the trucks are. Come get any new Silverado you want with financing down to 0.9 on the Silverados. Your good credit deserves it, and you'll get it at All-Star, Trailblazers, and Equinox with 1.9 financing, no payments for 90 days. Family love the new Suburbans, so we all can do more together. Where are we going for Easter? Where are we going for spring break? Where are we going on that first big summer fun road trip? Better yet, what are you driving? You need to be driving something from All-Star Chevrolet. Military, teachers, first responders, healthcare workers, college students. Right there, you get an extra $500 bonus back in cash. You want pre-owned? They've got it. Everything you want right there at All-Star, all the Jeeps, all the Ram trucks. Come drive a Yukon Denali or a Traverse. If it's not on the lot, they can find it. Just ask Jeff or Kevin. They'll find it for you through all their contacts. And Kevin and Jeff and all the staff at All-Star want me to wish all of you a very happy springtime and Easter season and enjoy all the basketball. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not South Haven, Bartlett, or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Go to All-Star Chevy today, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, the Tigers have taken a lead, their first lead since 28-26 early in the first
The Jordan
half.
Brown game.
The Jordan Brown game. David Jones also played really well, 24 points right now. Wichita State has 0 field goals in the last about 7 minutes now. So they're really struggling to make baskets, and that's what we kind of assumed coming into this one. But we need to get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about what has happened down in Fort Worth. Tigers now with a lead. We'll also talk about some other scores around the country. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir, it's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get preseason pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE72, 39.85, MSRP 22,320. Sportage R7, 24.7640, MSRP 29,635. Telluride RG 49.9963, MSRP 41,005. Includes all rebates and incentives. Best finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/1/2024. Dealer stock only.
Hey, it's my man Jeff Allen bringing sweet deals from Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Hey, Randy, I've got a 2024 Kia Forte LXS that gets 41 MPG highway, and you can hit the road for just $219 a month.
That's awesome. What else you got?
2024 Kia Sportage LX, $289 a month. Both 36-month lease and $34.99 due at signing. Or go big in a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $429 a month. 36-month lease and $39.99 due at signing.
Plus, get peace of mind with the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
We're online 24/7, KiaMountMoriah.com.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Burgess. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Burgess Rendezvous. A legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand bottled, taste tested, sent to a few friends, then taste tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
We're starting to crank up again coming out of Midtown with more volume just in the last few minutes on 240 southbound over here at South Parkway down past Norris as that traffic builds even more. I-40 at Danny Thomas. That's been slow at times on and off today, most likely because of the bridge being closed there on 55. Pretty much guarantee you that's why they are on I-40 again in and out of West Memphis this afternoon because of the 55 bridge being closed. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
A wild game it has been, a good game it has not been. A very ugly contest through most of the game between Wichita State and Memphis. We mentioned it before going to a break. The Tigers had a 1-point lead. Now, with a minute and 20 seconds left in the game, Tigers down by 4. So it gets interesting now, Brett, and it's just been really bad showing, I think, from both teams. I mentioned it before. Wichita State went about 7 minutes, a little over 7 minutes without a field goal. Tigers went on a couple of scoring runs. But then, they go on a scoring run, and then they'll just throw up a really ugly shot. And that's kind of how this game has gone for both teams today.
Yeah, Javon Quinterly has been really pathetic today. No surprise there. And the Tiger field goal shooting, like Wichita State, it has been bad. Tigers at 37% field goal shooting roughly, and Wichita State at 45 roughly. Both have made 7 threes each, but both have launched a lot of threes. 7 of 23 for Wichita State, 7 of 24 for the Tigers. 12 turnovers for Wichita State, only 8 for the Tigers, and it's coming down to the last 80 seconds.
Yeah, it's coming down to the finish. I didn't think it would be like this, but here we are. And, earlier when we were talking about the Tigers and really a absolutely pathetic start to the second half, and I was looking at the numbers, Tigers were shooting about 12% from the field, like 2 for 15, and shooting 0% from 3. They were 0 for 8 from 3, and it's just been really bad, both shooting the ball and defensively. They've been bad. Now, I will say this, Wichita State, a team that really has not been a good shooting team this season. I've seen them make a couple of really difficult shots, but there have also been a lot of just really, really bad defensive series for the Tigers.
Yeah, it has been some lapses and some just, again, the just practice set shot threes wide open for Wichita State, and even a lot of straight line drives to the rim. Really, it kind of the whole season encapsulated by today, frustrating and aggravating, and at times listless, and at times just super poor.
Yeah, and right now, about 30 seconds left. Wichita State about to go to the line, up 68-62. So, I guess you're praying for missed free throws the rest of the game.
You are.
But it's looking bleak for sure for the Tigers right now, and I really did not think it would be going this way in the first game. But this team has been so unpredictable all season long, I don't think anybody knew what to expect going into this afternoon.
That's the only predictability all year is the unpredictability, and they've done it. And Wichita State's just got to ice this away, and they're going to win, and they're going to advance.
One free throw, and it's pretty much over.
And Wichita State's just a really, really bad team.
They're a bad team, Brad. They're a really bad team.
I want somebody to seriously try to make me a case for accepting anything to the NIT.
Oh, at this point, you don't. No chance.
And I'm gonna try not to get high pitched. I'm gonna try not to get upset over it. But I want somebody to seriously make me a case of why you should go to that.
Well, Brett, I think I'm for. I mean, Brett, let's be honest. At this point, the NIT might not want you. I'll get high pitch.
Well, Brian, my goodness.
This is a first round exit, or I guess
that's back to your great comparison about hosting the AAC tournament.
This is going to be, if this
and you
holds.
Dunked all over my head twice on two good topics.
I'm sorry, but I mean, this is a second round exit, first game exit in the AAC. Brett, what have you been saying all year about this conference? It's not a good conference, and the Tigers just lost or is about to lose, if things hold, to a bad Wichita State team.
I completely agree with Brian.
I mean, this team has been bad all year.
I completely agree with Brian. This is pathetic.
We can talk about this team being talented all we want. This team was bad.
This is sad. This is sad. I did not expect this to happen today. I'm shocked.
But there's still 9.4 seconds left. So
man, this is pathetic.
Holding on to a prayer.
And Coach Hardaway's body language in this timeout is like, man, I can't get through to you guys.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly what it is.
Now, and I feel a little for him, but you've had since
what are we game
July?
32? I mean,
to get through to them.
We went on a big trip down to the islands and team bonding.
Went back on another big trip to more islands in November.
That's right.
I mean, it's been a lot of islands.
It's been a lot of
islands. And now on an island. And if you want to go watch college basketball somebody might pay you to take a ticket to go the rest of the weekend at Dickies Arena.
Oh man, it's bad.
For this, it is bad, and the recrimination and the angry tone will just start.
Oh yeah.
It's the second this buzzer. If it goes finals, it's not over yet.
No.
We've seen crazier.
We have.
This would be up there.
Sure.
This would be crazy.
It would be.
And would that launch them on to the rest of the weekend's success? It will make mine and Johnny's brackets just look like a crime scene. There'll be so many red X's on it.
Man, this is just sad. My brackets.
This
is my first time doing a bracket, and this is sad, Brett. I didn't expect it to be like this, man. First time ever doing a bracket, already X'd out.
And old alumni Bryant turned on him, and look what his.
Should have turned on him earlier, Brett. Let me pull out my bracket. So we got a check mark in that first game. I haven't updated my bracket even yesterday. X in the second game. East Carolina pulled that one out earlier today, didn't they?
They did, 84-79.
So we got an X there. Over to the SEC. State, check mark. Vandy, X. Georgia, check mark. And everyone can check off their South Carolina now. They have gone final. They beat Arkansas. So and into a
handily
really bad Arkansas season.
And now their Musselman watch will start.
Yeah. I mean, now that's all eyes on Eric Musselman, I think.
He's interested in Louisville. Here's the dynamic. His season's over, their season's over.
Oh, yeah.
You can make that marriage by Sunday, can't you?
I mean, get on the flight home and
Papa John send that plane.
That's right. Wow.
And that'll be that. And the Tiger game.
We got handshake lines, Brett.
We do. And it begins. This season ends, and it begins with the anger that will result. I don't ever want to talk down to anybody, but I will repeat again. He's not being fired, and he should not be fired. If you give Josh Pastner 7 years, you got to give Penny Hardaway 7 years.
Yeah.
I will defend him on that. Now, the Monday night comments at the coaches show really ring very hollow now, don't they? Because I don't know how anybody, and he's got to be asked that. He's got to be asked that immediately. Coach, do you still say your tenure has been great? Because you've won one NCAA tournament game, and you're going to miss the tournament this year. And do you still think the standard is way up when you had a fifth-year beloved local player senior that was part of your team at East High School that's missed these last number of games over very sketchy circumstances? Those things and more will have to be asked. Here's a question along the lines of coaching on staff. Will somebody be interested in Rick Stansberry? So then once again, kind of that first chair assistant coach have more turnover in that. Yeah. He's been through a lot of that, and a lot of that was going to be the answer. Remember when mean old Tom Bowen wouldn't let him hire Larry Brown? And I mean mean old Tom Bowen. Right. He wouldn't let him hire Larry Brown, and that was holding, Penny back. Well, he did, and I'm told that it ended horribly with those two. I know what Sam Mitchell in the year he had, what Mike Miller and he had. Tony Matlock, I don't know if he was ever that first assistant. He might have been a year or two. But he got a head coaching job, and I don't think that was with any rancor. No. But it's been a lot of coaches year after year, even last year with Frank Haith.
Yeah, Frank Haith.
Almost said Stan Heath. with Frank Haith. Yeah. I'm still about to get it wrong. I'm trying not to get high-pitched and angry is the main thing I'm trying to do.
And it's hard. I mean, it's after something like that, Brett, I have, for those who have not been tuned in all day to the station, I've been up here for most of the shows today.
So you are high-pitched and angry.
So I am high-pitched and angry for multiple reasons. No, I'm kidding. But
you've had all three meals at the station today, haven't you?
That's right.
All three out of the vending machine.
Exactly. Hershey's bar for breakfast.
Have you had hot food today, Brian?
I have, okay, thankfully. A shout out to Johnny for giving me a break. But my point is I have heard pretty much everybody on the station what they thought about this game going into it, and not a single person said they were going to lose today. Or get ready, it's going to be a scary one. Nobody said that. Everyone was, okay, they should win this one pretty easily. We can maybe worry about UAB tomorrow.
In fact, Brian, quite the opposite. I would say the percentage of 4 in 4 days would have mauled the prospect of losing the opener to Wichita State. Yeah. Well, of course it would. If you think you're going to win 4 in 4 days, you sure as hell don't think you're losing the opener to the Wheat Shockers.
Not at all.
After you beat them twice. Now, I did hear you this morning, and I thought it was sharp. And I'm listening.
I know you are.
And I heard you say you did not discount the fact of playing 3 times. I did. I think if you won the other 2, you're clearly better. But how much clearly better was the Tigers? Yes, torrid, hot shooting, kind of one-offer up at Wichita. It was.
Brett, when have we seen this Tiger team shoot like that? Any other game this season?
Before, since. That's right.
I mean,
and that's the one-offer part. And then a very narrow game at FedEx Forum. But the season ends, and the season ends just as ingloriously as one has ended in a long, long time for Memphis basketball, because of the lofty preseason expectations and because of the lofty poll you once ascended to.
Yeah.
I mean, 3rd week of January, that's into a good body of work of the season.
Yeah.
10th in the country in the AP, but once again, it screams how little that matters.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely does. I mean, the quick turnaround from number 10 in the country to your first game exit in the second round against a Wichita State team that only 2 teams came in lower than them in the conference tournament, Rice and UTSA. I mean, that's just bad.
Great point.
It's really disappointing.
How about the Rice loss? Lose to the team that eventually came in last, lost on the first day of the conference tournament as the 13 seed, and fire their coach.
Yeah.
And you lost to them at home.
That's right. You lost to them at home. I mean, this season can be summed up into a couple of games, and I think it's Rice, and I think it's what we saw today against Wichita State. Just a bad effort all around. The body language was absolutely horrific most of the afternoon.
It was just horrific all day. When Jordan Brown's one of the more energized guys you have.
6 points off the bench, the spark plug.
I mean, that's ringing fire alarms all over the place. Javon Quinterly just a year of move on.
Yeah.
So glad never had to see him again.
Yeah, 3 for 15 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3 for Javon Quinterly. Only 8 points for him. Just a really bad game. We'll talk about it a ton more. We've got Greg Gaston coming up at the top of the
22
hour.
and 10. That's how it will go in the history books.
That's right. So a really bad end to the season, but we need to get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Maddie Berner, an outfielder for your University of Memphis softball team. Do you like to be rewarded for shopping? Are you looking to transfer your high-interest credit card balances? For a limited time, you can transfer your balance to a Southern Security Rewards Visa and get $2 for each dollar transferred on your balance. Plus, no balance or transfer fees. Don't miss out, apply today. Southern Security is a proud supporter of University of Memphis Athletics and 901 Women. Southern Security, your home team credit union.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
It's time to discover your new Kia at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And there's never been a better time to drive off in your new Kia. Make it happen today in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS. 41 MPG, $219 a month. How about sporty 2024 Kia Sportage LX? We Gossett $289 a month. Both $34.99 to its signing. And get rugged in 2024 Kia Telluride LX. $429 a month. $39.99 to its signing, all 36-month lease. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE72, $39.85, MSRP $22,320. Sportage R7, $24,7640, MSRP $29,635. Telluride RG $49,9963, MSRP $41,005. Includes all rebates and incentives. Best finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/1/2024. Dealer stock only.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Where are my basketball fans at? Present! Welcome to Fandom 101. The madness is upon us. When the biggest ballers in the land take the court, we need you loud, proud, and live cheering them on. The NCAA Division I men's basketball first and second rounds, March 22nd and 24th in Memphis. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/MVP tickets. Class dismissed.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brown.
It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, my big number today comes from actually, I have two big numbers that I'm really excited about. I just actually remembered one of them, so I'm going to pull that one out first because it has to do with college basketball. The number is a year. 2013 is my big number. That year, the national championship game was between Michigan and Louisville. Top of their game, Michigan and Louisville.
Luke Hancock, MOP of the Final Four.
That is absolutely right. And now, 11 years later, Michigan and Louisville are both out of their respective tournaments. Michigan finished with an 8-24 record. Louisville finished with an 8-24 record. So, I mean, how fast can it turn from being in the national championship game and two really dominant programs in college basketball to being two of the worst programs in college basketball? It can turn very, very fast. My second big number comes from the NBA, and that number is 400. Not a lot of talk this year about the Chicago Bulls. They have not been very good this year. They've dealt with a lot of injuries, so not many people talking about them. But DeMar DeRozan has put up great numbers, and last night passed the 400 mark in fourth quarter points. So now he is in a league of, this is the category, NBA players with 400 or more points in the fourth quarter and 50 or more points in overtime in one season. Over the last 25 years, only two players have done it. DeMar DeRozan did it this season. The other person did it in the 2006-2007 season, and it was the one, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, he was great.
Yes.
I want to ask a question before I give mine. Do you think the Tigers should get out in front, PR, optic-wise, of not interested, don't want an NIT bid, to save the ignominious plight of not being invited?
Yeah, I think if the ultimate decision is we don't want to do NIT, even if we're offered, I think you get out in front of it now.
You didn't fire me, I quit.
I really think it's hard, because and who cares about a PR blowback, honestly. But you kind of got to wait because you can't do it like right after that because everyone's going to say, oh, obviously, what a pathetic season, yada, yada, yada.
I think you got to do it in post-game right now.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. See,
I think you got to get way ahead of it.
Now, that would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I certainly think you got to get out in front of it if you're going to do it. So I guess we'll see in the next, couple of hours if we do get an announcement of, hey, NIT, you're blocked. Don't call us because we're not coming even if you offer us.
You can take a pick on big numbers. It could be 6, as in the end of 6 years for Coach Penny Hardaway, or you could take 22, as in, or you could take 10, as in 22 and 10.
Yeah.
Also, you could take this 129. That's the number of wins in 6 years for Coach Hardaway against 62 losses. I'm going to have to look it up, but I would venture to say that after that same number of games, I don't know if that's counting the ones suspended for or not, but just in the number of games since he's been head coach to the same point that Josh had coached those, Josh would have more wins than 129. And it's not what anybody expected. It's not what anybody expected 5 hours ago. It's not what anybody expected 2 weeks ago, especially after the big comeback win over UAB. It's sure not what anybody expected on the eve of the season. And another big number is 3. That's the number of years remaining on his contract, and I think he will, and I think he should get every second of that contract, all 3 years. Now, do they raise recruiting money for him? Do they raise the NIL potential pot for him? I don't know how you go out. How do you go out and pass the NIL hat this offseason? How do you do it, Brian?
It's hard.
What do you say? What do you say to and don't use Bill Laurie, just to somebody that's worth $25 million, that's pretty good to the Memphis Tiger program. Hey, I got hot shot point guard. I got to get him, and this is the key, and you got to give. I gave for Javon Quinterly.
Exactly. And that's why it's going to be hard this year, because I think you go out to those people and their response is, well, I put up the money last year for that
Jordan Brown
point guard, that hot shot.
But thank goodness he's healthy.
Sure, absolutely. And so I think it's going to be tough after a year like this. There's going to have to be a lot of tough decisions. There's going to have to be a lot of tough conversations. I hope, Penny Hardaway goes back to the drawing board and maybe reevaluates some of the things he's done, some of the things he has said, and comes out with a different, scene next year, a different light next year. Because, Brad, if you have 2 seasons back-to-back like this one, I think it's going to be a lot harder for me to say he gets the rest of his contract, because it's
but Brian,
disappointing.
But we're told, and I agree, that he's just different.
Sure.
That it's the privilege of being Penny Hardaway in Memphis, associated with that university, that he is just different. And that is tantamount to me, that is, and I think he's bigger than this program. Now, he's if you look at it like the scales of justice, he's getting bigger and bigger than this program with the more and more poor seasons of him coaching it.
That's right. But, we've seen, and I think, Penny Hardaway has had his good moments, certainly, and has not been like the disaster that Kenny Payne has been at, or was at.
Thank goodness for Kenny Payne.
Honestly. But, we've seen this. Look at what's happening with Juwan Howard. Look at, what happened at Georgetown with Patrick Ewing a couple years ago. The list is
They had
long.
to move on for Patrick Ewing won it all there and played in the finals 2 other times for them.
Talk
and,
about
and they had to move on from him.
Bigger than the program.
But Patrick Ewing, he was not. The biggest person in the history of the Georgetown program was his head coach, Big John Thompson.
That's very true. That's a good point. It's going to be interesting, because it is definitely I hope we don't get to that point, because then it's a very awkward, very tricky situation, I think, for the city, for that program, and for that athletic department. So certainly not the way anybody thought or wanted the season to end, but we do need to end this hour, and when we come back, we're going to talk a lot more Tigers, because on the other side, Greg Gaston will join us. That's next on Sports Time.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better? I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the all-new Vokey SM10 wedges. Made for lower flight, improved feel, and maximum spin. Unlock your ultimate wedge. Play with the new Vokey SM10 wedges. Visit us in store at Edwin Watts Golf Shops or online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy, and I've got a question for you. Who wants to pay full retail for a pre-owned car or truck when you can buy it at wholesale? Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, right off Covington Pike, has an unlimited selection of super sharp pre-owned cars and trucks you can buy at the wholesale price. And right now, you can use your tax refund as all or part of a down payment and still just pay the wholesale price. Chevy Silverados, F-150s and Ram trucks, Tahoes, Explorers, Jeep Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, Renegades, a Cadillac SRX, Camaros, Mustang convertible, Hyundais. Check it out. Go to WUcars.com or Google Wholesale Unlimited Memphis. This is great. Your money goes a long way when you can buy at the wholesale price, and tax refund time makes it even better. Go to Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, just off Covington Pike, with guaranteed approval. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports 56, and you can thank me later.
Memphis, get loud for your Memphis Grizzlies when they face off against the Oklahoma City Thunder this Saturday on Wrestling Night. Arrive early. First 5,000 will receive a Grizzlies luchador mask. Get hyped, get ready for an epic matchup, and secure your tickets today by visiting Grizzlies.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Was starting to crank up again coming out of Midtown with more volume just in the last few minutes on 240 southbound over here at South Parkway down past Norris as that traffic builds even more. I-40 at Danny Thomas. That's been slow at times on and off today, most likely because of the bridge being closed there on 55. Pretty much guarantee you that's why they are on I-40 again in and out of West Memphis this afternoon because of the 55 bridge being closed. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. From the Tigers sideline, it's Tigers Talk with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Hear Greg weekday mornings on Sports 56 Mornings, along with Eli Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter X at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joins us now on the Sissy's Log Cabin phone line. As always, you can listen to Greg every single morning with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli. Greg, I would say good afternoon, but I don't think it is that good of an afternoon. Nobody expected what we just saw from the Tigers today.
Does anyone want to cue up taps? I think that would be appropriate to play a little taps here to start this segment. Should we be in shock?
No, we shouldn't.
Should we be surprised with the way this season has gone? It's almost like it's apropos that it would end this way, that they would come back, grab the lead, led by guys like Jordan Brown and Jalen Young, and then in the end, the defense would collapse. They'd give up a dunk, a three-point shot, although it was a contested three, a couple of layups, and they get knocked out in the second round of the tournament. Don't even make the quarterfinals. It is, look, I know people are using the D word, disappointed. I would use the D word, disaster. I think it was a disaster.
Greg, I'm going to go to the E word. How embarrassing do you think this is? That question to Penny Hardaway, are you embarrassed? Should he be? On Monday night, he was saying he thought he had done a great job. He said he thought he had the program, the standards of the program were very high. What do you think the question should be to him? Because Javon Quinley's going to get out of town. Jordan Brown's going to get out of town. Maybe some others. The face of this program is Penny Hardaway.
I wonder if he wishes he never would have said that on Monday night, because it's not the case. Anybody who thinks that he's done a great job, I don't know, then they have lowered their expectations. This was not last year he did a very good job. This year, after an amazing start, 15-2, 10th ranked in the country, everybody knows the story. It was nothing less than a disaster. No, it was not a great job, nor was it a good job. And whether or not he should be embarrassed, he takes pride. There's no question that it's going to eat at him. It's not going to roll off his back and he's going to go play 18 tomorrow and not think about it. The guy is certainly going to be hurting from this, just like everybody else in the city. But it doesn't mean that he shouldn't be embarrassed by bailing in the first round. This is a league revamped after the loss of Houston and Cincinnati and UCF that everybody said, well, if they're not one, they're two.
Yep.
Florida Atlantic will give them the benefit of the doubt, but will they have sustaining power? Probably not, but we'll give them another year. But Memphis, the bell cow, is going to dominate that conference, and they may very well from here on out. But this year, you now add that loss today. That means they lost 8 of 19 conference games. 8 of 19, 7 during the regular season, and they lose to Wichita State. And the likes of teams that finished dead last, finished 12th, finished 10th in the conference, along with teams near the top. I don't know what else to say. It was a roller coaster year. It had some ups, but when you look at the totality, all you could say is it was a disaster. You can't say it's a disappointment. They were 10th in the nation, for goodness sakes. They were 15-2. They did everything they needed to do, non-conference wise, to begin that season off the way they did. They were looking at a 2 seed, a 3 seed, a 4 seed at worst, and then this conference. No, the Big Ten, Big 12, SEC, no, the American Conference schedule. And while some teams are certainly competitive, I don't know if Memphis was mentally ready to play. They took teams for granted. They didn't have as much talent as we thought they had. Bad rotation, players not understanding the system. I don't know what it was, but listening to Perry Clark, who does a great job as an analyst on these broadcasts, he pretty much laid it out. He said this was not an attacking Memphis team. They had to attack. They had to go to the hole. It was a lot of dribbling. It was a lot of settling, which is a lot of what they do in the NBA, for goodness sakes. So, again, it was, well beyond disappointing. The talk of firing him, that's nonsense. That's crazy. But 6 years, 1 tournament win, 2 tournament appearances, it puts some pressure on even the native son, even the guy that's beloved by everybody. He has to put pressure on himself to get this right next year.
Greg, I agree with you, and I have voiced that he's not going to be fired and that he shouldn't be fired, to kind of quibble just a bit on it. It's crazy. It's crazy to say Penny Hardaway is going to be fired. If it was anybody else, they would be subject to Sunday night a presser announcing they had been relieved of their duties. But he's not going to be, because he is bigger than the program.
Yes, there's no question. Of course, it all depends on the financial situation in the coach's contract. It all depends on how aggressive your executives are. In this case, Laird Beach leading the way. I know he's an aggressive guy. I know he's not happy. I can tell you that much. And Jeff Crane and the rest of the guys. But certainly, there's no doubt about it that Penny is going to get the benefit of the doubt. He's going to get more leadway. He did have a really, really good year last year, but a lot of coaches in that situation would probably lose their job.
He gets
because of
Penny privilege, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And does he deserve some? He certainly does deserve some because of what he means to the university, the money he has given. The statement he made also on Monday, which is one of the statements I did agree with him, that he could do anything he wants. He has all the money in the world. He could move anywhere and be anywhere he wants. He decided to want to coach the alma mater. But that was his choice. So with that comes scrutiny.
And very well paid.
It's not all going to be sugar plums and all candies. Sometimes there's going to be some nasty stuff. And as long as it's not personal attack, I always say this, as long as you're not taking personal attacks at individuals, you can be downright disappointed. You could be angry. You could say whatever you want within reason as a fan or even a non-fan. If you want to give your opinion and voice your opinion, you are entitled to do that.
Greg, I concur. I couldn't agree more, and I do not think it should ever get out of bounds and be pointed personally at a person that is of high achievement of this town. Remember, accomplished player here, maybe the greatest high school player ever out of Memphis, really, really, really great player for the Tigers in the pro career, the gold medal, all that. And I don't think one thing should be personally said about him. But nobody had that braking mechanism for Tubby Smith. Nobody had that braking mechanism for Josh Pashner.
I can tell you this. I've gotten a lot of texts in the last 20 minutes, a lot of texts. And to a person, they question whether or not he can coach. And I do think he can because I know he knows basketball. But whether it's stubbornness or their point is not getting across to these players or he's not bringing in the right combinations of players, that maybe he's looking for the biggest name available and not guys. Now, last year was a nice mixture. You had your A and your B, your alpha and your beta, or two alphas if you want, in Kendrick Davis and DeAndre Williams, and the rest of the guys were role players.
Yep.
This year, it was very late in putting that team together, and he went out and he got the best names available that would come and play for Memphis. He's still going to be in the mix for a lot of players. But when players start to look at Memphis over the course of his resume, and they're going to go, wait a minute, we come here to win a national championship. Now we can't even get into the NCAA tournament. Maybe I don't want to go there. The track record doesn't show that that's where I want to go for my final year. He's still going to get names, don't get me wrong, but he's got to sit back and kind of look at the whole situation now and maybe have a different approach, a different attack to the roster he puts together and what they want to do as a team. Now, I disagree with what he said on Monday about the bar being raised higher for him. I would completely disagree with that. But the perception of what this program is, I don't know. You tell me, is it a little bit out of whack? I don't think expecting this team to go to the NCAA tournament 3 out of 4 years and winning at least 2 out of 4 years the conference championship is too much to ask for, especially when Houston has vamoosed and left and gone to the Big 12. I don't think that's too much to ask for. This, again, if you had this presser that he had after his coach's show on Monday with the media today, and he will meet the media, of course, and he's probably meeting them now, he probably would have pulled back on a few of the things he said, because it certainly can't be the standard is just getting to the conference tournament, which is automatic, and not winning a game. Come on. Let's be honest here. If you're not making at least the championship game in your conference tournament in a watered-down conference, what are we saying here as Memphis as a national program, as a national brand?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And you mentioned something in there. You talked about last year's team and how it was a really good mixture. You had your A, your B, and then you had a lot of complementary pieces. This year's team does not have that. I went back and looked at the conference championship last year when Memphis beat, and Greg, we were talking about this earlier today on your show in the mornings, how they beat the number 1 team in the country, Houston Cougars, last year in the conference championship. And you look at that rotation, you had Alex Lomax, Malcolm Dandridge. I understand the Malcolm Dandridge situation is tricky right now. It's a weird situation, but you had Alex Lomax, Malcolm Dandridge, Demarie Franklin coming off the bench. I have not been able to trust this bench really for most of the season, especially this later half of the season. What have you seen from the way Penny Hardaway has relied on this group and kind of the bench guys? It looked like today he couldn't pull any of those guys out, even though they were struggling, because he didn't have much faith in those bench guys.
Well, I think one of the things we found out is this team is not as deep as we thought it was.
Yeah.
It's certainly not as deep. Number 2, each game was completely different. There was no consistency in the rotation. Again, down the stretch. Now, granted, Jordan Brown and Jalen Young actually did a few good things, but not a lot of great things. Jordan Brown still struggled the entire season, but he had to depend on those two guys when they made the comeback as they started the full court press. Brown was in there, Young was in there. Who would have ever thought in a situation like this that those two guys would be playing meaningful minutes, and Jourdain was out and Jaquan Walton was out? So, yes, it's a head-scratcher on who he plays, when he plays them, how much he plays them. The bench, again, ended up being certainly not as deep as we thought it was. But what I think that they are missing the most of, and some of this has to do with the loss of Caleb Mills, and some of this has to do with the loss of Malcolm Dandridge.
Sure.
Those two guys, to me, possibly the biggest dogs, and I mean dogs in a good way, on the team, as far as guys that'll get in your face, guys that are physical, guys that are leaders. Last year, look at the guy. You mentioned some of the bench guys. Alex Lomax, you talk about a dog going in there, wanting the will to win, and he learned a lot of that from Penny Hardaway. And some of those other guys, certainly Malcolm, you mentioned, he was coming off the bench, but the starters, Kendrick Davis, that guy has dog in him, right? DeAndre Williams.
Yeah.
Those guys had something that these other guys, I think, are missing. I don't think Quinterly had it. I don't think David Jones had
Quinterly
it.
had cocker poodle in him.
That's right.
Tomlin, I think, has it, but again, late to the party was unbelievable in their last 3, 4, 5 games.
Yeah.
But Walton didn't have it. I can go down the list. So that combination was not working with the loss of Mills and with the loss of Dandridge.
Yeah.
Greg Aston, our guest. He's with us every week from the Tiger Sideline. It's brought to you by Jim's Place Grill, Stephen Leffler, the law offices of Stephen Leffler, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, and Neil's Bar and Grill. There's a lot of one word to describe the 6 years of Penny Hardaway. You got a word, Greg? One word?
One word. I would say underachieving.
Very good. I think that is fair, because if you look at it fairly, I think he's accomplished very little. Not nothing. You can't say he's done nothing. He's had some accomplishments. I think they're just small with a lot of talent for very average league. Mm-hmm. And if he wasn't Penny Hardaway, he would be fired Sunday. But he's not going to be, and he shouldn't be, because he is Penny Hardaway.
This isn't. Sorry for interrupting you there. This is not what's happening or what happened at Georgetown with Pat Ewing. They never could turn it around with Pat Ewing. They never had a good season. I'm not sure where it'll go with Michigan with Juwan Howard. Jerry Stackhouse, of course, it was very tough to be at Vanderbilt and go up against those SEC opponents day in and day out, but it didn't work for 5 years. That's not the position they're in. But when you look again at the 6 years and all that was accomplished, he had some highs. He certainly had a great, not a great year, a great run in the conference tournament last year to knock off the number one to get to the NCAA. And we can't play a game of, well, what ifs, right? If they make the defensive stop on Florida Atlantic, if they get the timeout, they win that game more than likely. It doesn't mean they go as far as Florida Atlantic. So we can't play the what if games. So you look at the accomplishments and winning. It's not like their record is 13 and 18 every year like it is Georgetown and some other teams. But again, you're Memphis. The talk is cheap around here. We're this program. We're a national brand. We're this, we're that. Well, then you got to do a little bit more than what has been done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely an upsetting day here in Memphis for a lot of Tiger fans after that performance. But, Greg, thanks so much for joining us. We've got to get out early today for Ole Miss basketball. I know you and Eli will have a lot more conversation about this in the morning, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Greg Gaston, he joins us every single week to talk Tigers. And we're about to wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But before we do that, we've been talking about all of the college basketball going on, all the hoops going on. I know you might be looking for a place to go catch these games at, and I've got the spot for you. It's Bell Tavern, located at 117 Barbaro Alley, right behind 117 Prime. Open from 4 to 11 Wednesday through Saturday and 4 to 8 on Sundays. Look, I know nobody likes a loud bar where you can't hear yourself think, much less talk, but that's the opposite of Bell Tavern. Not even a sports bar, but it is a bar that you can go enjoy an evening, enjoy an afternoon, and they've got plenty of TV so you can keep up with all the action. Start your night with one of their gourmet burgers and one of their great cocktails in their dimly lit bar. And it's not just the burgers. Bell Tavern has the best bar food in Memphis and the coldest beer in the city. 117 Prime, just walk through their dining room and you're at the best bar in town. For more information about our friends at Bell Tavern, give them a call, 901-249-6580. That's 901-249-6580, or go online to belltavern.com. Let's get to Taco Bell Crunch Time.
It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned, there's a lot of changes coming to the college basketball coaching scene. Today almost felt like Black Monday in the NFL with all of the changes we got, all of the firings, all of the parting ways that we got today. We've got a couple of more rolling in. We'll certainly get more and more as we go on. AAC News, UTSA parted ways with their head coach, Steve Henson. So that's now 2 openings in the Tigers conference. It also sounds like DePaul is set to hire former Ohio State head coach Chris Holtman. I thought this was coming. We had heard of kind of the bigger jobs that would open, but now, Brett, this is the start of the dominoes. We know Ohio State is open. Now Oklahoma State's open. Louisville's open. Vanderbilt's open. They're going to go make their hires, and they're probably going to go out and get sitting head coaches, and that's going to make openings for those jobs, and we're going to get those dominoes falling like we have talked about a lot lately. But today was really the first day with a lot of firings around college basketball.
And, Brian, that right there's what I've learned today for a lot of reasons. Penny Hardaway is not being fired, and he shouldn't be fired. And it's a good thing. It's going to be a very tough market out there. Yeah. If you're looking for a coach, it would be difficult for the Tigers stuck in this wretched league, going to these horrible places, coming off of this year with NIL a challenge, going out there and trying to hire a coach. I know Will Wade is the magic answer to so many people. Hire Will Wade. Very similar to one time I remember the magic answer was going to be to hire Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads me right into what I could have done without today, and it's the performance we saw take place over the last couple of hours. Memphis came in, a lot of people saying that they could run the table, win 4 games in 4 days. Some people so confident like Joe Lenardi, who picked them on the ESPN panel.
Somebody check on brackets.
Oh, man, check on him. He was the one lone national supporter of the Tigers, but the Tigers...
Well, I thought everybody hated us.
Well, that is a good point, but the Tigers did kind of what we've come accustomed to seeing this season. They came out very flat. Wichita State takes the lead. Memphis fights back, but can't close the door at the end, and ultimately Wichita State wins it 71-65. Just very poor shooting from the Tigers. 36% from the field, 27% from three, and only 70% from the free throw line. They were out-rebounded by Wichita State and out-hustled, out-executed by Wichita State. There were some quotes coming out from various Wichita State players from their head coach. Their head coach after the game said, this was an expected win. We expected to win this one, which kind of coach speak. You kind of expect a coach to say that, but a couple players coming out and saying that their game plan was to play harder than the Tigers, and they knew that whoever played the hardest would win that game, and that they definitely played harder. And it was very clear watching that game, especially late. They were fighting for it, and the Tigers really were not throughout that ballgame.
I wonder if that Tiger assistant coach said after the Ole Miss loss, if we played them 100 times.
Yes.
Well, played Wichita State 100 times, already have 2 wins. That means it'd be 99 out of 100?
That's right.
Because you know they beat them twice. Though played them 100 times.
Yeah.
And everybody's hot shooting day was from 3 when they played Memphis.
Absolutely.
I could have done without this, and it's going to get buried in some off-season, heck, maybe next summer of 2025, the final report on the Malcolm Dandridge case. It will get totally buried and forgotten. There was a lot of there.
There was a lot of there, and yeah, I think you're right. I think that will be something that ultimately gets buried throughout the offseason. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Vegas for all the tournaments they have. Could have gone to Fresno and Utah State at 2:30 today, and then UCLA and Oregon at 4:30. 8 o'clock tonight, Colorado State and Nevada. Then at 10:30, New Mexico and Boise State. I think the Mountain West tournament's got more action at it than any of all those tournaments that are located out there. Yep. Somewhere in there, try to find a hot slot or a great buffet.
Got to. Win in Vegas, right? Beam me later tonight in the Big 12. Cincinnati, their big win, a 20-point win yesterday against Kansas. Now, it doesn't get easy for them. They've got to go up against Baylor tonight, number 14 in the country, the number 3 seed in that conference tournament. We'll see what Cincinnati can do. They've won the first 2 games in their tournament. Can they keep that rolling? Could be a bid stealer come Selection Sunday.
A&M must win. Cocktail party in Nashville on the hardwoods between Georgia and Florida. Zany Tulane in North Texas. Tickets available in Fort Worth. Temple and SMU. Whole sections. In fact, a whole side of the stadium available for that one.
Brett, maybe a whole arena available.
Maybe a whole arena. I wonder if they shut down concession stands. Iowa must win over Ohio State. The Big 12 going on in Kansas City. The ACC in D.C. and the Big East at the Garden.
Yeah, no, some really, really good games tonight. We started the day with 52 games. I still think we got about 20 games left the remainder of the night. So
I'm good till midnight.
Get ready. It's going to be a busy, busy night. But that's all the time we have today. Another programming alert. We've got Ole Miss basketball coming up on this station. Pre-game show will start right when we're done here at 5:30. That tip-off scheduled for 6 o'clock. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli.